Special board meeting, the study session. Will we do the roll call of board members?
Okay.
Okay. Who wants to take it? You take? You're gone.
I think what we'll do as we begin this study session on the annual student academic achievement is introduce Dr. Spiller, and she will proceed from Dr. Spiller.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Lynn Spiller, Director of Research and Evaluation, and I'm pleased to present the student assessment data to the governing board today. So one of the first things we always talk about during the year is what are the demographics of our students, how have they changed over time. So you can see from page 10 of your annual student assessment book, or you can follow along with this PowerPoint presentation. And as we look at the demographics, what we notice is that our percent of the students that are represented in a minority population has stayed pretty steady over the last 5 years. We don't calculate mobility anymore. We are now calculating stability, and stability is defined as the students who were enrolled within the first 10 days of school and stay enrolled for the rest of the year. And we did see a slight increase to 67% of the students are showing stability. When we look at low SES, and that's defined as students who are participating in the free or reduced lunch program, we can see that we're steady at 91%. And what we do see is a decrease in the number of students that are in our English language learner program. And we do see quite a positive trend going in decreasing numbers for English language learners. So are there any questions about demographic data?
Lynn, sorry to interrupt you, but where can I find this information?
You know what, you emailed it to me too late, so I'm just now uploading it to Word.
I apologize.
Okay, because I'm sorry, I want to
Sure.
follow along and on my computer as well. It's easier to see.
While she's doing that, could you explain to the governing board what information is embargoed and what information is not embargoed at this point in time?
Yes, at this time, all of Arizona Learns data is embargoed, both the legacy labels, which are the excelling, highly performing, performing, and performing plus, and then also the new A to F labels, they're also embargoed, so I'll return to you to talk about Arizona Learns after September 28th when they're supposed to be released to the public. But I can talk about AYP at this time, and it will be part of this presentation. So a lot of the data that I'm going to be talking to you about, I did talk to you at a study session, so is it okay if I go on? Okay. What's interesting at this district is we have had a strategic plan in this district since 2003, 2004, and the primary goal of the student assessment plan is all students will reach high standards at the minimum obtaining proficiency or better in reading, language arts, and mathematics. And this data is our primary focus for all of our grade levels. The assessment that we use to evaluate our student data is called the AIMS test. That's initials are Arizona Instrument to Measure the Standards, and it's a dual purpose assessment. Part of the items are teacher constructed, and they're aligned to the Creighton, aligned to criterion referenced assessments or standards. The other part of the assessment is comes from the vendor. In this case, our vendor is Pearson, and the test is called the SAT-10 test items, and they give us a score for students that allow the students to be compared to the nation. So we have both AIMS items, and then we also have norm reference assessment items. This means that our students don't have to take two tests which they used to take in the past. So as I look at this type of data that I have, Adequate Yearly Progress, the federal program for evaluating school effectiveness, is by Adequate Yearly Progress, and we sort of use we call it the green chart. The green says these are the areas where we have made AYP at the site level and then at the district level. And in this chart, as we look at it, we try to focus on horizontally and vertically, and it gives us some idea of what we need to focus on for our strategic plan at the district level. So the district is the lowest bar on this graph, the horizontal bar, and that tells us which of our subgroups and special program membership students are in the most danger. AYP only evaluates a subgroup or special program participation if there are greater than 40 students in a group. So our sites are not evaluated sometimes on English language learners because the grade level falls below 40, or on special education. Special education, usually they don't have greater than 40 at a grade level. But they do aggregate up to the district level, and that's oftentimes what we see on this lower bar. So our focus this year as we look vertically in reading, we're concerned about third grade. We're always concerned about third grade because a large proportion of our students are Spanish is their primary language. They already have to pass a comprehension test by third grade. That means we have to bring them up to proficiency, kindergarten, just using kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and third grade. So that's a fast timeline. So third grade reading is always a focus. Our concern as we look at this data is 8th grade. We see there's 2 sites in the district that did not reach the AMO, the adequate AMO's annual measurable objective in 8th grade reading. So we have concerns there. As we look on the math side, we see a lot of white at district level. We see that special ed did not make the AMO. Which concerns us. We had a very robust reading program in place for special ed for reading interventions. And after looking at this, well, not after looking at this data, we had it planned for our second year of implementing response to intervention. We also will be putting in place a very strong math fluency program this year. But we do have a lot of things to celebrate. We have 6 out of 9 sites made AYP in reading, and that is a magnificent effort by the sites and quite something to celebrate. We also saw that our SPED students, for the first time in over, 10 years, our SPED students made the AMO 5 out of 6 grade levels in reading. Even our English language learner students achieved the AMO 4 out of the 6 grade levels. So these celebrations are something we took place on July 18th as we shared with the sites. One of the charts that we have developed as we work with WestEd and Ellis is a chart which compares our percent proficiency to the state overall. We do it for all of our students, we do it for special ed, and we do it for English language learners. Our goal is to see these 2 lines, the blue line. We'd like to see the blue line catch up with the red line and exceed it before the end of our project with Ellis. We're in our 4th year, so we have 2 more years to meet this goal. We're really excited about the green and purple lines because we have very strong positive trends with very fragile groups of students. Our special ed students have shown flatline growth for many years. We implemented a very strong response to intervention program last year with our tiered interventions, and we saw an increase of 26% proficiency this year. So we're very excited about that program evaluation. As we look at math, I put the math slide in there. They changed the test, so it's a little, it's so you go, why do we have such a steep decline in scores looking from 2009 to 2010? They re-standardized the tests, but we do see that we're now on can't really say it's a positive trend without 2 data marks, but we did see an improvement from last year. So we're looking forward to improvement in math. On adequate yearly progress, we did have some sites that you have to make adequate yearly progress. You have to meet the AMO in every grade level, every subject area, every subgroup that's greater than 40, and every special program participation. It's very hard to make AYP. Next year it'll be even harder because the AMOs go up again. So right now we...
Can I ask a quick question with this applicable now? I apologize. I seem to recall an op-ed in, I think it was the Scottsdale section of the Republic, which a lot of our district gets for some strange reason, that there was a, I want to say it was a Scottsdale high school that had failed AYP but was excelling, and it was a principal or an assistant superintendent or somebody who was writing an opinion column about why that is. Is that something that you're seeing more and more as we get further and further into AYP, that you have schools that aren't used to getting kind of the failing labels that are now earning those?
Yes, and what the data says that this year I think 92% of all schools did not make adequate yearly progress. Usually it's special ed or English language learners, as long as you have 40 students at a grade level. So at a high school, it's very easy to have greater than 40 ninth grade special ed students, and actually Ames is only for 10th grade. So absolutely, they're being evaluated for special ed where they weren't ever evaluated before. You only have to miss it in one area, reading, math, or writing, and you don't make adequate yearly progress. It's very difficult. So we're looking forward to the federal government giving a waiver to the states. And instead of using the old formulas for adequate yearly progress, we're hoping they'll use the Arizona Learns formula on growth to label schools and identify the schools that are failing and need an intervention. And okay, so the federal government is aware that the AMOs are going up to be the AMOs state that 100% of all students need to be proficient by 2014. That's the way it is now. They know that that's just not going to happen. So 100%, I'm guessing, 100% of all schools will not make adequate yearly progress by 2014 because all of those little subgroups and programs just takes one not to make it.
So is Arizona applying for a waiver?
I'm positive that they will. I haven't seen the application or anything, but I'm positive that they will apply for a waiver.
Okay. Will you let us know when you find out, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I know Arizona's in a good position for the waiver to be accepted because they actually have a growth model as the base of Arizona Learns, and that's what the federal government wants to see. So as we look at, this is data that we collected just to compare our district to districts around us, because it's really important that we compare ourselves to others like us that have similar populations to give us an idea of our programs. So this is a chart of data that's I download from the State Department, and what I do is calculate the growth of percent proficiency from 2008 to 2011, and then I just sorted it from Creighton down to Madison. I did it by who had the highest growth, and we can see that Creighton actually demonstrated the highest growth as we compared 2008 to 2011. So we're very excited about this chart. It tells us that our interventions are starting to work, and they're starting to work in such a way that we actually are higher than our surrounding districts. When we look at this chart where it's comparing reading percent proficiency from 2007 to 2011, so I'm looking at the status of